Speaker, I will be brief. First, let me support those who have spoken in support of any measure to protect our women. I just want to deal with two matters, Madam Speaker. The matter mentioned by the member from Northeast St. Catherine and also the leader of the opposition. The amendment to the Criminal Justice Administration Act in 2015, carried by the then Minister of Justice, was fully supported by me because the idea was that it would reduce the backlog and also urge persons to plead guilty. But when, Madam Speaker, in 2016, I was putting in place the Plea Negotiations and Agreements Act, I thought that what appeared as seemed to be happening by the judges, to use it as an almost automatic reduction, that it would be inappropriate, and I really wanted to repeal that Section 42D that dealt with it. And I must tell you, I argued with my technical team that we must repeal it and let the plea negotiation be the basis on which we impose the sentence. But because it was only passed in 2015, and this is 2016, my technical team literally said, allow it to see how it works. But the truth of the matter, Madam Speaker, is that the judges blame us in Parliament in that their hands are tied, in that once the person pleads guilty on the first opportunity, they simply say 50% reduction. If it is not the first opportunity, 35%. And if it is during the trial, 25%. Madam Speaker, the way when I reflect and see how it has been happening, it is not appropriate in every situation. And I believe that there are really egregious cases where the judge's discretion should say, I am not using this amendment. But one gets the impression that they feel almost bound by these amendments for one reason or another. And I have heard judges say it is based on the law. Well, the truth of the matter, Madam Speaker, very shortly, I will be tabling in the House the right of appeal for the prosecution, of which one basis is to appeal sentence. And I think at that time, I feel we need to determine whether this amendment should be removed. Because if the amendment is not removed, to give a right of appeal to the prosecution based on sentence, that right would almost be nugatory in the sense that the Court of Appeal might say the judge followed the law, and therefore that right of appeal would not be appropriate. So in truth, having reflected on it, I can say, and I'm prepared to have further discussion, that we must amend that section, remove that amendment, and allow the plea negotiation to be the basis of sentencing, because in the Plea Negotiation and Agreements Act, it allows not only the defense to appeal for mitigation, but also for the prosecution to make representation in terms of what would be an appropriate sentence, and the prosecution in doing so would then also take into consideration the feelings of the victim or the families of the victim in appropriate cases. Because, to be frank, Madam Speaker, sentencing is a difficult subject for a judge. I tell you that all the time. And it's clear that sentencing is a major criticism. And the public is really very strong that sentencing are too lenient. But you know, Madam Speaker, when you look at the cases, the judges tell you that what they've done is in accordance with the law. So to give you an example, Madam Speaker, there was a sentence for very gross killing, where the sentence was 6 years. And the judge, when you look at it, said she started out at 18 years for manslaughter, which is an appropriate sentence for manslaughter, 18 years. But then she said she gave 50% reduction, which took it to 9 years. But the man was in custody for 3 years. And the Privy Council says that if you're in remand for a period of time, that must be taken off in the sentence to be imposed. So it was reduced from 9 years to 6 years. And the complaint in the press, and quite rightly, was that the man may only serve 4 years because he may get 2 years off if he behaves himself in prison. So, Madam Speaker, this is a matter which we will come back to Parliament to examine further the sentencing policy, how we deal with the amendment, how we deal with the right of appeal, including the right to appeal sentence. But on a final note, and second point, Madam Speaker, with respect...
This has to be your final note, yes, because of your time.
With respect to the pepper spray, we have to be careful, Leader of the Opposition, that we balance, as I said before, opportunity and risk. Opportunity for women to be able to get it and use it. But if we don't supervise and control it properly, criminals could get it, and they can use it to disable unsuspecting victims. So we have to be careful and balance it properly. Thank you, Madam Speaker.